Fabulous. Well, if nobody else is interested in that, then we'll move that to next week, and you'll still be able to go. So if anybody's interested, please let them know. The next role is the archivist. Would anybody here be interested in being the archivist? Okay, moving swiftly on. Would anybody like to be a fabulous finance officer? You get to help out Joe with the treasury and get some finance work down. No? Cool. Let's move on. Yearbook editor. Anybody interested in creating a fabulous yearbook? We haven't had one for the last few years, but it'd be nice to see one. That is very sad. I know this is what you're all waiting for. That's the positions. Okay, well, first off, the international officer, but actually they're not here, so we'll have to move on. Thanks, Nick. Next up, we have the female gym officer, Prisha. She's not here, but is her proposer here?
Right, yes.
That's fine then.
Hi, I'm Benedict, and I'm proposing Prisha Jagota for female gym officer. I think she'll be a great candidate because she's reliable and organised, making her an excellent candidate for the role. She frequently goes to the gym, so has valuable understanding of how it operates and knows what's going on all the time, unlike myself. She has a good understanding of how everything works. Having only started regularly going to the gym last year, she understands also what it's like, the sort of struggles that people might have when starting out at the gym. So I think she really wants to encourage people to feel safe in the gym and get as many people involved as possible. As well as the ideas listed on her manifesto, she's thinking of introducing systems to tell gym users whether the gym's free, how busy it is, and whether maybe even a particular machine is busy. This obviously is helpful for gym users that don't live in Collingwood and have a long way to come. And finally, she wants to generate hype for the gym and encourage as many people to get involved. So I think please vote for Prisha.
So Prisha has sent us in a video of us, which we're going to try and play. If the video hosts don't work, we'll be sending them out in your emails so you get to watch them all.
It's definitely not going to work. Just bring the speaker up. We'll send it out.
We'll send it in the email, don't worry. Next up, we have the JCR Treasurer. Good sound. Please come up.
Hello, I'm Benny and I'm proposing Sam for JCR Treasurer next year. So I'll just give you a very brief overview as to why I think Sam will be a very good JCR Treasurer. First of all, he does maths, so he's quite good with numbers and that. So that's obviously going to be quite important for the Treasurer role, using quite a lot of data and having to look over it, things like that. He's also quite organised and I think will communicate really well with the rest of the JCR exec and President. And he's also got experience as a finance officer, so he's quite experienced with the finance committee and knows what kind of things they get up to. So yeah, that's three main reasons, but I'll pass you back on to Sam to explain a bit more about that.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Sam, and yeah, as Benny said, I've got experience being a finance officer, so I know how sort of the meetings work, and I feel like I can move smoothly on from Joe and continue his work. And yeah, I've also had experience as a math representative, so I've got experience communicating with peers and also staff, and sort of proactively seeking out how to make it work better. And so I hope to use these skills to sort of work with the different presidents and treasurers of the different sports and societies, so I could do some early budgets, which I know will help a lot of them out, and also find where you'll need to budget in for large expenses, so I could do that early, so I know like the boat club need a new boat and things like that. Yeah, I think that's
Sam. Does anyone have any questions for Sam?
What's 43 plus 56?
99.
Sam, since you're pretty good with numbers, can you predict your pint time for us?
I'll go for
To one decimal place.
one decimal place. Alright, I'll go for. So I'm not feeling on my best form. I'll go for 7.2.
You don't have to respect it.
When you're ready. Take it away when you're ready. Go on, Sam. Oh, it's quick.
Nice one. Any more questions for Sam? No, fabulous. Thank you so much.
We have a question from Joe.
A question from Joe online. If you had unlimited funding for one event, which would it be?
For one event. I think it's going to be Collingwood Day.
Yeah.
Bring, I don't know, Drake in there. Let's get some different artists. I reckon I could do bits with that. Yeah.
Have another fight for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. So the next hustle role that's going up is events manager. We actually have two people running for this role. First up, we have Maisie Crawford, and her host is her proposer is Prisha. Could you guys please come up?
Am I leading? Okay.
Yeah, tell us more.
So hi, I'm Kasha. I'm a first year student. And then when Maisie asked me to be her proposer, I instantly said yes. I know no one better to be the role, to like take on the role as events manager. And just to quickly summarise why I think Maisie would do so well, I'd just like to give you like one quick account of something that we've experienced together. And it was during the housing crisis back in October, in fact. And we were queuing outside of Harrington's, and we got approached by the really prestigious newspaper, The Tab, and The Tab asked us for an interview, and I, very cautiously said, no, this could really affect, my career, but then Maisie jumped on the gun and said, no, we'll be interviewed, and so I thought, we'll go along with that. But I actually, looking back at that interview, which, got posted on TikTok, made us a little bit TikTok famous and all that, I look back and I think, Maisie would be perfect because I really appreciate how honest she is. I appreciate how much she's willing to stick up for her opinion, and I think that's really, really important on the role of events manager. I think she's so approachable, and she gives good advice, and she's really good with speaking with people, and I think with all these qualities, she would just make a perfect events manager. Thank you.
That was really sweet, thank you. If you don't know me, I'm Maisie. I'm a first year religion, society and culture student. please don't be deterred that I'm a first year. I'm 21. I worked in hospitality for a year full time. I absolutely love my job. I'm actually quite sad to leave it to come to uni. So I work at quite a prestigious hotel where we run events all the time, anywhere from like casual drinks to working with chefs from Portugal, Africa. They fly in, we run it. It's amazing. I love it. So I would love to kind of bring that experience to Collingwood and kind of show you guys that, yeah, I'm a first year, but I can run events. I'm very organised. I'm also very good with the budget. I'm not from the best financial background. I know what it's like to make money work for you, and I want to make money work the best I can for us. That being said, this is an events role. I have some really cool ideas. I would love to throw a casino night, cocktails, mocktails, like bring blackjack in, bring LA here, a Midsummer Night's Ball. We can make it magical, and also I feel like Collingwood's perhaps missing some cultural events. Perhaps people from different backgrounds would like to approach me, or not me, but the committee, and perhaps we could run some events that are a little bit different and a little bit more fun. Yeah. So please vote for me. I think it would be really fun, and I think I'd be a great fit for your role.
Maisie, any questions for Maisie?
Sorry. My bad.
Has anybody got any lovely questions? Yes, Charlotte.
So obviously cost of living is a really big this year. How would you, if you do get events manager, how would you make sure that you're not compromising on the quality of an event at cost?
Yeah, of course. I think there is a certain art to making sure. I've got quite big visions, I will completely admit that. I've got big ideas, I'm very creative, but that doesn't mean everything has to be expensive. You can make a lot of things, and there's a lot of caveats I feel like people miss out, that you can think of something, there's always a way to make it cheaper or better or homemade, which makes the college what it is as well, because we've made it what it is. So sometimes you have to take an idea, brainstorm, marinate, get some thinking, but there's definitely always a way to, and every event's different. I can't give you an answer for a specific event, but yeah, there's always a way as long as you think about it.
Cool, Elena? So yeah, the events manager and the VP work really, really closely with one another, and I think it's a really integral part of both of the roles that they work really, really closely with one another, and they make sure things are as good as possible, as accessible as possible, as cheap as possible. What would you do to ensure you have a really, really good relationship with your vice president, and how would you maintain that relationship over the years?
Yeah, of course. I think it's just down to communication, and also, I did fail to mention it when I was speaking, but the whole team. So as long as we have good communication, obviously regular meetings, we're regularly in touch, and if we have good preparation skills, as we know what's going on before it happens, then obviously problems are going to happen, people get frustrated, it happens. But if we're aware of what's happening in advance, we can find a solution, we can work together, we can figure it out without too much hassle or stress. I think it's quite important to have regular, not just the VP, but everyone at regular meetings, and keeping notes of meetings and stuff, so that even if you're not there, we can show you what's been happening. As long as all that's cleared and we're all on the same page, I think that's kind of how I'd approach it.
You mentioned on your manifesto having a welfare hub at formals. We do have drop-ins during the formals where 2 people in the welfare room, but is there anything that you would change about that to make it more accessible to people in that form?
Yeah, so I do know about it obviously, but I think it's not particularly signposted well. That was one thing I did notice. I also noticed a lot of events I attended to, there was a couple of people who would leave early or just not come in general because they were oh, it's it's really loud, it's kind of overwhelming. So I think it'd be nice to have somewhere slightly off, a welfare drop-in centre, more clearly labelled to just go and have a break, have a breather. So yeah, I think it just needs to be signposted more. And not I think the welfare team are amazing, but it needs to be just in that general direction. Maybe beginning of formals or events or on emails, just a bit more in people's faces. I think people are a bit, especially if people are overwhelmed, a bit shy to approach the welfare hub. So whatever we can do, yeah.
Any more questions? Alright, thank you, Maisie.
Thanks.
Next up, we also have Steph running for events manager, so if Steph would come up. Steph's proposer also couldn't attend, and we have the video husk, which we will send out in the email, because tech is failing today. Literally, not actual tech. We love calling it tech.
Okay, hi, some of you might already know me, I'm Steph. I'm running for events manager. So I was a Freshers Day leader this week. I did the Monday, it was a cowboy day. And from there I realised I really enjoyed these kinds of things and I love working in college. So, so then I joined the ENTS committee and I'm actually ball chairing this next formal, which is the halfway formal, which I'm super excited about. I feel like from these experiences, I've kind of like gained a bit of rapport with like tech and catering and things, which is always helpful. I've got some big ideas, such as I mentioned in my manifesto an out of college winter ball, which a Yule ball. From that, I was kind of thinking, obviously we need to make it accessible to all students, but I was thinking like Harry Potter, very Durham, hanging candles kind of vibes. And then I also mentioned the non-black tie events, which like a pajama party, a college barbecue, all of those kind of things, because formals aren't everyone's cup of tea, and the role of like events is not just about formals, and like Maisie was saying, not everyone wants to go to a formal all of the time, so I think we need to cater for those people that might be overwhelmed or might feel like that's too much. They can still get involved with the Collingwood community that way, so that's really important for me. Yeah, thank you.
So, any questions for Steph?
So obviously, like events manager is a very challenging role, and obviously you're only the third year. So how do you think you can manage your time with your degree and your dissertation and being
I am a primary school teacher, we're going to be. This is like my expertise. Like planning, I plan everything. Literally every single detail. Like the second I got here, I'd planned literally like I'm gonna get here at this time, I'm gonna do this. I think communication with everyone, with tech, with catering, with the rest of the JCR and the ENTS committee is super important, and also the assistant manager of ENTS, so that there's just thorough communication between everyone. Everything is planned, everyone knows what's going on. So I feel like that's the best way to combat it. Yeah.
So you said that you plan everything to a T, right? So how would you deal with, if something didn't go exactly as planned, Amazon deliveries come late, people tell you that like, oh, I need to be at this thing, that's this thing. How would you, deal with those little things?
I mean, I think ideally, those would be avoided by putting the Amazon orders out earlier, sorting the the seating and stuff out as soon as possible, so that if something like that does happen, then we do have time to fix it, and there's always time to fix it. But I mean, things happen, and I would like to say that I feel like I'm quite a determined individual, and that I would be able to overcome them and problem solve, as I'd be like very dedicated. Yeah.
So you mentioned in your speech making formals as accessible as possible, and they're quite a big part of the university experience for a lot of people. But that being said, they're often quite oversubscribed. Have you got any ideas as to how you might make sure that anyone who wants to go to a formal would have the chance to go to a formal?
Yeah, so I would like to keep the budget down as much as possible, and this kind of idea I've had, I've worked with Duck the last year, which is a charity in Durham, and I've got quite a few fundraising ideas that I really want to put in place to try and make the price of formals a bit lower so that everyone can attend should they want to. Also like multiple sittings if they want to, and then like I said about the non-black tie events, like it's just another opportunity for people to get involved, especially people that live out of college or the formals aren't their cup of tea. I think it just really brings them back into the community. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no more questions then, but Maisie, would you like to come back up? You two have the chance to ask each other 2 questions each.
Hi. I'm Izzy, and I'll be proposing Cate for the role of bar steward. I have been so very lucky to have known Cate Mulholland since the first day she arrived in Durham. From living with her for 3 years and working in the bar with her for around the same time, it's clear that she really, really does care about the Stag's Head. What she severely lacks in boozing abilities, she does make up for in organisation, friendliness, cleanliness, and seriously caring about both staff and student welfare. She's shown all this through her time as a supervisor behind the bar. Being a bar supervisor myself, I have zero doubts or concerns about the Stag's Head being passed down from Christy to Cate, and yeah, I just think she'd make a pretty good bar steward. Better than Ron, so you know, it's always a really good start. But yeah, there we are. Yeah, hold your applause, hold your applause.
Yeah, I'm Cate. I'd love to be the next bar steward. Obviously, I've worked at Stag since my first year, so I do kind of like know it in and out. Really don't think much needs to change. Obviously, it is the heart of college for a reason, and we are the best college bar for a reason, so just kind of want to continue like what Christy and everyone before him's done. That being said, I do think we can be a bit more involved with the college community, so like if that's like drinks choice involvement choices, or you know like guest charity days, so like a busy day each year. We're really busy, we can capitalise on the money we take and like donate to causes close to like students' hearts. It'd be really cool to get that running, and like just keep the regular events, pub quizzes, guest DJs, like those kind of stuff that like do kind of like solidify the bar as the heart of college. And also just like increase welfare training for all the staff. It is a big thing when we do like hire people, but just kind of make sure that everyone does know and like can feel assured that Stags is a really safe place for them to enjoy. So yeah.
Fabulous. And any questions for Cate? We'll start off with Hannah.
If you could only drink one drink from the Stag's Head for the rest of your life, which one would it be and why?
Oh, like, please don't wrong me, but double arches lemonade. It is like, it's so icky, but it's just so good.
Oh my god.
I wouldn't have said that. I would
Guys, do it, Chess, do not. It's fine, it's fine.
Any more questions?
What would you do? Say, when I started, I found like the game was kind of
Yeah, I think it's really important actually, because we got definitely thrown into some really busy shifts when we started. So just kind of like introduce like really slowly go in there, like maybe a buddy system, just to make sure that like you are feeling like really, really assured about like, the processes behind the bar and stuff. And also like there's a lot of stuff that we all kind of know, but it's not a set process for. So like ask Angela, for example, just kind of like increase knowledge around that, so you do feel like completely prepared and shit.
What's been the biggest weakness with the current bar stewards?
No fault of his own, but there's like.
That was quick.
That was she and she was like, oh, I'm so glad you asked.
Sometimes we don't have some things like do bad and stuff like that, which is like not really your fault at all, but kind of just maybe like.
So you haven't answered the question.
I do want to say anything bad. Like preempting that and maybe like kind of communicate a little bit more with like suppliers and stuff, trying to get ahead of that.
The mustache.
No. Stop the hole.
Are you going to bring back the cups?
Well, if I wouldn't have to bring them back if the fresh didn't take them, but no, I think like we're doing pretty good with the cups at the moment, fingers crossed. But I don't think we should introduce them or anything, so that's just a bit that's the thing.
Any more questions?
Oh, here we go. What's your PK time?
I don't want to talk a big talk, but I think I can do 18 seconds.
Have you defizzled it? Can I defizz it?
No.
Oh man.
It's been open for like an hour.
Look how fizzy it is.
Hey, hour. Oh, it's so quick. She's not buffaloing it. Oh my god! Guys,
not to alarm anyone, but that is a new PR.
Fabulous, thank you so much. If there's any more questions, then we can move on. Thank you so much. Theo is shouting out a gluten-free pizza if anybody is interested in a gluten-free pizza. So, of course, we move straight on to the presidential election. First up, we have Harry Morris, proposed by Daniel Hughes.
Hi everyone, I'm Enya and I'm proposing Harry to be our next JCR Pres. I'm lucky enough to have known Harry since our very first week here at Collingwood, which was many more years ago than we want to admit. And not only is he a thoughtful, friendly, dedicated, genuine and down-to-earth guy, I've seen him go from strength to strength in all our years here, personifying the very best that this college has to offer and how much it offers to all of us. From prepping to JCR Secretary to JCR Chair, along with the myriad of other commitments like ENTS, Tech and Cheer, just to name a few. There isn't a corner of this college that Harry hasn't passionately thrown himself into. He truly knows and appreciates how special and amazing this place is, and he has unparalleled knowledge about exactly how college and the JCR works. He's organised, approachable, and full of brilliant ideas about making college life inclusive, accessible and fun for as many Collingwood students as possible. It is this passion and dedication to college and every Collingwood student in our family which will make him, without a doubt, an amazing JCR Pres. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Enya. That was fantastic, so thank you. So, hi guys. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Harry, and I'm going to be your next JCR President. Usually I would be in Tash's position at the minute, chairing one of these meetings, but so this feels quite weird. But I guess that's one of the reasons why you should vote for me, and that is experience. I've got a hell of a lot of it in my time here. As Enya says, I've been here longer than I care to admit. But if you've been to a Freshers Week, a formal, or a JCR meeting in recent years, there's quite a good chance that I've had in organising it somewhere along the line. So what else would I bring to the role? Well, I want to make JCR a place where everybody feels like they can get involved. Like, you know, often some people are put off, but I want anyone who has a say in JCR to, you know, be able to look for stuff and have one. And one way I want to do this is by making roles easier to run for. Like, the current process is actually quite convoluted. It's quite archaic and kind of harkens back to the days of when people went through paper admissions for kind of roles and paper voting. I want to get rid of this. I want to kind of start doing it all on one easy-to-use form online and make it a really easy thing to do. Because at the minute, I think that puts a lot of people off how complicated it is. Another kind of thing I'd like to do is I'd like to tweak the Freshers Week and event system. Make volunteers a bit less stressed out and make them have more fun at the end of the day. One of these things to do would be in fact introduce a day-night shift system, so people who are kind of staying up late do not have to get up the following morning really early, which is not exactly ideal. I mean, 3 hours of sleep is not the best when you're kind of doing a day's work, and I've done that before, and it's not fun. So I want to get rid of that, and I'd also like to incentivise kind of other work in college, such as the working formals with like free pizza or stuff after the formal, which is something that I know people used to do. On a far more fun note, I'd also like to introduce more kind of inter-sport and society socials. Like I had the pleasure of being part of the November JT and Cheer one earlier this year. And that was honestly so fun, and I'd like to see that kind of happen across college a lot more. So I'd like to kind of introduce that. After all, in a place with so many opportunities, it seems a shame that, you know, in our time here, we don't try as many as possible. So finally, one of my pet peeves in the JCR is the sofas which you're currently sitting on. Now, they're stained with God knows what, and have been impossible to clean. So I'd really love to be able to use the JCR's budget to fund new ones, because I think they're well due of a replacement. So to conclude, I think I'll make the JCR so that can work for everyone, and everyone feels can get involved with. I want to utilise its finances better, so everybody here feels supported, and can succeed in whatever way they can. And personally, I want this college to be something we can be proud of, and I look forward to working with all of you to do that. So, thank you.
start off with questions for Harry Morris.
So this question goes to both of the presidential candidates.
We'll save those for later. These are specifically for Harry.
Best of luck.
Any questions specifically for Harry?
So you mentioned splitting the FREP team into day and night shifts. Do you think that would risk kind of halving the numbers on the ground? And in that case, how would you manage to ensure that Freshers Week still has that kind of wow factor, if you like, whilst having less people there at one time?
Yeah, no, that's a very valid concern. It's something I have thought of. Well, the chances in the kind of system that I was thinking of, the vast majority of the day, from about 9 till about 6 at night, you would have a full team there. So, that's an ample amount of time to get virtually everything done with a full team. It would only mean that in the later parts of the night and in the early parts of the morning, you would have a slightly reduced team. So, those are the couple of the least productive times in Freshers Week from my experience. So I think that would kind of work that way. So, yeah.
Any more questions for Harry? Christy?
What is the current president's biggest weakness? How would you improve on it?
President's biggest weakness, Jesus. Okay. I don't know. Biggest weakness. I don't know. I think his relationship with Arthur is far too close, to be honest. I think there should be a solid kind of, like church and state. I think there should be, president and bar, there should be a solid disconnect between the two. I think it's far too close at the minute.
Any other questions for Harry? Yes.
So, the VP and the Pres role are very, very closely interlinked, and they're to work together very, very closely. How would you ensure that you make sure you work well and communicate with whoever your future VP is?
Yeah, I think it's quite simple. It's just meet them regularly and just keep in close contact. Just make sure they know what they're doing and they know what you're doing, and just chat to them often.
Fabulous. Any final questions for Harry Morris? No? Going, gone. Charlotte Reason, you want to take the floor? Charlotte's proposal couldn't make it tonight, so we will send out the video in the following email. And Charlotte, propose yourself.
Hi guys, I'm Charlotte and I would love to be your next JCR President. Many of you will have seen me across college all this year in my role as events manager, as a prep, I work in the toasty shop. And my key thing here is that I've done college in the COVID-19 pandemic, and I've seen firsthand that engagement across college has been quite poor, not due to any of the students' fault, but just generally a lot of the values and passions that Collingwood really was reputable for has been lost. So the key aim that I would do, if elected as president, is to ensure that anyone can get involved in anything they want to do without any boundaries, whether that's financial or mental or any fear at all. So some of my ideas, you'll have to bear with me. So the key thing is engagement with the JCR and exec is really key to college. Whether that's winning at sports, winning at sports, thriving at productions, and boosting key skills for the future. It is important that people do know who the exec are, because that means they know exactly what they can do for you. For example, you can come to me as events manager and know that I can help you do your informal. You can come to Christy and say, I want an open mic night, and I think that's really key for everyone to know. Secondly, I'd ensure that exec are present at a lot of events. You get used to seeing their faces and you can have one-on-one talks with them, and that would also include holding informal events such as coffee and cupcakes, so you do really get to know exec as people. By doing this, it allows my next idea of increasing feedback to work so much better. Sports and society leaders should be encouraged to take and implement feedback, passing it up to exec if they need more support. I found this really helpful in my role this year as events manager,
and it's really nice to know that the student body's values and passions are really acted and heard upon. Feedback to the president is also something really key that I want to encourage. Your president should be someone that you feel valued and represented by. So one of my key ideas is, you can see up there, yeah, president's drop-in. So whether that's over a pint in the Stag, a toasty from the wooden spoon, or just a coffee, I'd really encourage students to, once a term or once a fortnight, come and meet me, or the president-elect, and just have a chat about college life and see if there's anything you can improve. College has so much to offer students, and with so many moving parts, I think it's really key we don't miss any information out. So another one of my ideas is that we need to really streamline the way we have information. So currently we have so many accounts going at once, and it can be quite hard to find information. So at the start of the year, to freshers and to incoming to freshers and current students, I'd really push all the Instagram posts or the Facebook accounts to make sure everyone knows where you get your information from. Through my constant and deep involvement with a variety of college life, I hope I've shown you guys that I can be a committed leader who will ensure that your voices are heard and acted upon. Regardless of if you know me as that threat from TikTok, a girl who social toasties, a person who complimented your plants on move-in day, your tap teacher, or even the person who stands up and speaks at college events, I really hope you consider voting me for president. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. So, does anyone have any specific questions for Charlotte?
How many sheep could you fight in at once, like if they walk around?
I'm not very strong. Gym is not a word that I know. I think I am from East Yorkshire, so I do know a lot about sheep. So, therefore, I think 3. Let's not test that. No one really should know, please.
You've had a lot of roles in college. What's some of your strengths that you think will pass on from the roles that you've done in the next job?
I think the key thing is I'm really big on listening to students. Students know college better than anyone, and especially the older you are in your exec role, you do lose the connection with students. So I'm really big on feedback. I've done it quite a lot this year, and I'd really like to push that. So making sure that students' voices are listened to, acted on, whether that's the ping pong balls upstairs, that's been really helpful this year, or Instagram polls. I think that's the key skill that I like is I do like to listen to people, and I don't know the best, and I really hope that students would know what to do.
Hi. So you're listening to people.
Yeah.
How are you going to ensure that you listen to members of exec, maybe your future ENTS manager, maybe your future VP?
So yeah, exec is a really key part, like I've said in my manifesto. They really are quite integral to college. To make sure that they're listened to, I really would like exec not to be cliquey. We don't want people to think they can't speak about roles that aren't in themselves. So I'd really ensure that exec are quite social together, have more socials together so we really understand each other. And that way, hopefully, that you push each other to go out your comfort zone and speak about something that I don't know. I can speak about pros and cons and think oh, I think we should have a TikTok account, obviously I say that. But I really push things like that. And make sure that exec feel comfortable speaking out about anything, even if it's not actually in their role.
Charlotte Maisie, what is your favourite thing about college?
Not the VP.
I love my VP. Ooh, good question. I think genuinely, this is going to sound so wet, so please don't hate me for it. Oh, okay. We're going wet here, guys. Bring it on. Basically, God. Calm down. No, I think the thing about college, it is a family. I have friends in first year that I've stayed through all the way through until third year. I've got friends now in first year who I'd probably carry on and live, know for the rest of my life. I think that's a really important thing about college is
it's such a welcoming space, and I'd really like to keep pushing that, and making sure that everyone, even if you're in sports, make sure you're knowing people who are in theatre and vice versa. And I think that's really one thing I do love about college.
Yeah, fabulous. So, thank you so much. First of all, we're going to open up the floor for questions to both the candidates.
Oh, God, that's a lot.
Yes, Eddie, you look very excited.
So, cost of living price is a big thing at the minute, and we're always talking about lowering prices as much as possible. For both of you, how would you actually do this without just wasting away, not wasting away, but using the JCR's excess money without cutting things from the event?
Yeah?
I think a really good thing that you could do is use other colleges' resources. So for people who don't really know that presidents meet at PresCom once a week, and one thing you could do there is ask other colleges for help. So for example, at formals, you can ask, do you have these decorations, which mean we don't have to buy more decorations, and we want to put this new scholarship in, do you have any ideas about that? And I think that's a really good idea. Like, Collingwood isn't just Collingwood itself, it is a part of Durham University, and I think it's really nice that you should be able to lean on the other presidents and put new ideas into place.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, just as what Charlotte said, I think that's a fantastic idea. Also think, as I think Steph said earlier, handmade decorations, that's also a big one, that saves on a lot of cost. Also just utilising resources a bit better, just making sure nothing in excess is used, which doesn't need to be. And just reusing as much as we can in the past, which is also good for sustainability. So yeah.
Oh, any more questions? Avi?
So across the first term and the second term, there have been many events where it's setting up and taking down. There has been like a severe lack of human resource, and many of the people have had to volunteer. What do you think is the cause of this is, and what will you do to not create such circumstances?
Yeah, no, it's a difficult one, and yeah, it's one that we have been kind of puzzling over for a while now, this kind of JCR engagement and stuff. I think one of the reasons has got to be, it's just people don't know how to get involved as much, and they kind of see it and they don't exactly know how to go and do it. And so I think one big thing would be making it more accessible in that way, and just informing people this is on, feel free to come and help out. And I also think, one thing I mentioned earlier was Ents Pizza. I think that'd be fantastic if we just offer that to people to come and help them out, just a little thank you kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of like my key role is like all the forms and things like that. And I have found it quite helpful actually is, again, incentives like Harry just said, I do like every time an Ents meeting, I give out prizes so people feel special and seen, not just as like a general committee, but as an individual, because I think that's quite key that you do know each other on an individual level. And I think just like general use of college spaces in general will improve that. So whether we use the TV screens and things like that, I think that would increase a lot more awareness about what's going on and incentivize it quite a lot more.
Any more questions?
JCR as an entity, especially like these meetings, they can be quite complicated to understand if you're a first year. How will you, in your term, demystify getting involved with JCR and not make it so it is complicated to read 3 years to kind of understand it fully? So how will you go about that to kind of put it across a bit more clearer and a bit more accessible in the structure?
Yeah, it is quite complex, and even now I've run from 2 roles now technically, and I still find it quite complicated on what to do. However, I think there's ways we can go about it. We use quite a lot of jargon, so like husting and proposer and seconders. When you're out at college, you're not going to know what any of this means unless you've been in a debating team. So I think really trying to make, like a dummy's guide and just like, this is what this means, this is what that means. And there's a lot of things, for example, in the standing orders and the publicity document that still need to be updated on making roles a lot more accessible to run. Publicity, we have talked to the exec about it, is quite hard, and without being able to really outwardly saying you're running for roles and like putting everything everywhere, people aren't going to know, and people aren't going to get involved in the JCR, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a big one. Doing kind of like a document or something that you give to each freshman at the start, which kind of explains all the jargon and stuff. And another thing that I kind of really want to do is kind of just simplify the entire process. Because at the minute it's, I think, far too more complicated than it needs to be. And I think we could quite easily just do it so if you want to apply, you just fill out a form and that's it, and then you come to a JCR meeting. You don't have to bother with any other kind of other bits and pieces, which often will probably put people off. So yeah, simplify the entire process, and that's something we can do.
Great. Any more questions for the? Yes.
Jazz hates me now, it's fine. So, as you said, Charlotte, that it's really difficult to get, both of you actually, you have said it's really difficult to get involved with college and JCR specifically when you're in the first year or second year. What was it about Hollywood and the JCR that got you both to end up running for your roles, because you have been active in college for a really long time?
That's an excellent question. I think it's kind of the friends made along the way kind of thing. I think I know it was just through people saying, "Oh, I'm doing this. Do you want to come do it as well?" And I was like, "Okay, I'm going to give that a go." And that kind of, I think it was 2020 Freshers Week for me. I was roped into doing tech, and I think that got the entire ball rolling, and just made more and more friends and contacts, and kind of kept on going from there. So that was fantastic. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with Harry, like friends is a massive thing about it. But another thing for me when I was a fresher, obviously it's hard in the COVID pandemic to really go out and do many things, but a lot of it was just knowing that the college community in general does care for you and you align with those values, and that's why my whole thing is kind of like making sure you feel represented. And so especially for me, it was really just making sure that Collingwood cares for me as much as I care for it. And how we do that in the future, I think this is what we're going to have to work on. But that is kind of why I got involved, is because I knew that I felt appreciated and I wasn't just a person who lived in that block on that door.
Right, any more questions for both of them?
Yeah.
So having experienced like SMT, so the senior management team at Durham, at Collingwood, yeah, so like Grant Slater and stuff. A lot of the time they can like put their foot down on stuff. So I want to know how you two deal with being told, no, you can't do that, and also making sure that you're like representing the voice of the students.
I found that quite a lot this year in my role. SMT are really big, obviously, on keeping Collingwood traditions alive. However, a lot of them don't align with us anymore. So for example, like I found this year fancy dress, it hasn't been really engaged when we've tried to do it. We've asked the students, and I think that's again what to do is listen to the students and bring back physical evidence of, look, actually the students do want fancy dress still, we'll just move it a bit further along. So it is obviously a hard relationship to navigate, they technically are your bosses, but I think you just have to speak to those people, speak to them as colleagues, and really make sure that they know that the students are wanting it, not just you.
I think this is one kind of fantastic thing we have in Collingwood is such a great relationship with SMT. I know a lot of colleges don't quite have that, and it does make life very difficult, and we've got some fantastic people there. So, and obviously they've been here for a long while, so they do have a lot of experience we can draw off. Obviously it doesn't quite often align in what we want, but I think it's very much on a case-by-case basis. If it's something that we want, and it's represent the students, then I would very much stand on the ground on that. But then I'm more than happy to take their advice on it, considering they're, obviously very experienced in this matter.
Fabulous. Any more final questions? That's great. So now I can open it up to you two. You each get to ask each other questions. Do you have any? 2 each.
No, okay.
Cool. Okay, so one thing that you kind of mentioned in your manifesto was you really want to kind of push a JCR meeting in Freshers Week to kind of boost some engagement. We tried this kind of last year, and attendance wasn't brilliant, and it was very difficult to schedule it when there wasn't anything else on, considering it was just Freshers Week, everything's kind of going on. So what kind of things were you kind of thinking of doing to kind of boost attendance at this?
So the key thing, I think, again, I did say about making sure no one was around. Not no one was around. No events are around. We do want people around. No events are around. Because obviously, like, you do want that to be the main selling point of college and the day. However, obviously that isn't always available. So what I do is kind of make sure that JCR meetings are fun, even if that one is an initial fun on whether we do bingo and like, you know, oh, a proposer's going to put something in or something like that. And then people can, you know, enjoy it and actually really immerse in it in a fun way instead of just sitting there and being a bit bored about us standing up there saying all these fancy jargon. Okay, so what do you think in your role this year, on all your roles to be fair, will be the best quality that you can take forward into your presidency?
Yeah, no, that's quite a difficult one actually. I think it's just knowing the JCR. I mean, I've obviously poured many hours over the standing orders and bits and pieces like that, and all the boring bits, but also just the different areas. I mean, I've done tech, I've done cheer, I've done all the sports, I've done, you know, obviously the JCR stuff. It's just, yeah, a lot of experience in a lot of different areas, and I think that's kind of the thing I, you know, will kind of cherish from it. I mean, that's, you know, definitely, I think, just that kind of wide-ranging experience. Yeah, you mentioned a bit about getting feedback as well. So what would you do to kind of get this feedback, considering, yeah, it has been quite difficult to get feedback in the past, and you've tried kind of social media polls and stuff, and it has worked to a degree, but is there anything new you definitely want to try?
So I think I found quite a lot this year. Social media, we can't rely on it quite a lot. Not everyone follows, for example, I'm going to speak about EDS right now, so not a lot of people follow the current EDS account, so they might not actually vote, or they just tap by the stories and not actually engage with them. However, I've just tried an email one about the latest spring ball, and that's really got quite a lot of engagement. However, again, people don't read emails. So I do think like the things like upstairs where the ping pong balls are there to vote, I think that is a really nice idea of making sure people are just getting a bit of fun of it and like making it in a competition that they can actually see and get involved with. So my question is quite a difficult one, Harry, okay? Right. So it's a really big debate in Crawford. What would you add to college brunch if you were president?
That is a difficult one. What do you go for? College brunch. See, quite yeah. I'd introduce omelettes. I think omelettes would be quite a good shout. Yeah, no, I think if you could like, do like a little omelette station in the corner, I think that would be really nice. So yeah, no, definitely.
Fabulous, thank you so much, you two.
Any other points?
Well, our PowerPoint is gone. Are there any other, is there any other business?
I'm not doing a quiz this evening, but God's Treasurer is, I believe, at 9 o'clock, so please, oh sorry, please do go to that.
Yeah, so the charity club quiz at 9 PM tonight.
So we get these tables now that can go in.
Other than that, voting will be sent out in the next email, so please watch out for that and make sure to vote for whoever you want. And if you have loyalty cards, please come and get them stamped. Because next meeting there'll be another prize. Or collect a new loyalty card if you don't have one already.